Welcome my dear students to today's online presentation class. And today's topic is from your English second paper textbook, English second paper. Our topic is changing of sentence, and it is usually set in your question script as question number 6. So, after this class, we think you will be able to have a better understanding of ch- changing sentences, the pattern of changing sentences. There are different types of sentences that are presented in your question papers, but the major types are simple, complex, compound pattern. That means you have to convert or transform the simple sentence into complex sentence, or a complex sentence into a compound sentence, or a compound sentence into a simple sentence, and vice versa. So, this is the first prominent changing pattern in sentence. The second one is the changing of voice. Voice change. You are familiar with the term voice change. You have to change active voice into passive one, or vice versa. That means from passive voice into active voice. So this is second type. The third one is the change of degree of adjective or adverb. That is, you have to change positive degree into comparative degree or superlative degree, and vice versa. So there are other types. Those are simple and minor ones. Say for example, from affirmative to interrogative, or from affirmative to negative. So from assertive sentence to interrogative sentence, or from affirmative into negative sentence. These are the types. So now, coming to the first pattern, simple, complex, and compound, we should have some preliminary idea about the feature of a simple or complex or a compound sentence. First, to start with, a simple sentence. A simple sentence has an independent clause, and with this independent clause, it expresses the idea completely. That means it fulfills the requirement for a sentence. So, a simple sentence has an independent clause. So, second one, a simple sentence can be converted into a complex sentence by expanding, enlarging the words or phrases of the simple sentence into clauses, so that we can transform the simple sentence into complex one. Then the question naturally arises. Regarding the definition of clause. What is clause? Because in our definition, in our requirement for simple sentence, we have found independent clause. So clause is a thing which we must make it clear. Which we must make clear. A clause is a group of words containing a subject and a verb, and a clause remains as a part of a sentence. So the idea of words, phrases, and clauses is very important in the understanding of simple, complex, and compound pattern. Now we will move to the second one, the complex sentence. A complex sentence has a main clause and one or more subordinate clause. Subordinate clause is a dependent clause which depends on the main clause or the principal clause in order to make its meaning clear. A compound sentence has two or more coordinate clause. So a coordinate clause is equivalent to another coordinate clause. So in a compound sentence, we will find two clauses which are interrelated, which are mutually interrelated. Now we will move to the examples. First one, these examples are drawn from your question paper, which have been set in different years. First one, it flies from flower to flower and collects honey. We will make it, we will transform it. This is the presence of and makes it a compound sentence. So we will transform it into a simple sentence and into a complex sentence. First, simple sentence. In order to make it a simple sentence, we will first we will remove the presence of two subject and the presence of two main verb. So first we will remove it, and the main verb, flies, will be transformed into flying. Flying from flower to flower. Then we will use the requirement for one single subject, that is it. Then one main verb, that is collects, and it collects honey. So the pattern of simple sentence is complete, because it flies from flower to flower is a coordinate sentence, a coordinate clause which has been transformed into a group of words which is not a clause. Now, second one, complex sentence. As it flies from flower to flower, it collects honey. So here we find that the two clauses remain, but the structural pattern has changed, because instead of and we have used it, and here at the beginning of the sentence we have used as so we have made it a complex one. As it flies from flower to flower, it collects honey. Next, another example. In winter, it remains idle, but it works hard in spring. Similarly, we will make it simple and complex. So first, simple. In spite of the presence of but has inspired us to use a phrase in spite of, prepositional phrase, in spite of remaining idle in winter. Dear learner, if you look at the question, you will find that we have changed the location or placement of in winter from beginning of the question. In answer, it has been placed at the end of the first phrase. So because it is better to use in spite of remaining idle in winter than using in spite of in winter remaining idle. So this is the better option. So we should be aware of this fact, that we should be careful about the placement of words or phrases. In spite of remaining idle in winter, it works hard in split. And for complex sentence, because of but, we have used although. A coordinator, although. So, although it remains idle in winter, uh, it works hard in spring. Or last one, see, cutting the cake. Cutting the cake, the mother gave everybody a piece. Here, the mother is the subject, gave is the main verb. So, gave everybody object. So, the word cutting the cake is a phrase. So, we have a phrase, subject, a main verb. So, it is a simple sentence. Now, we will transform it into a compound sentence. So, in order to make it a compound sentence, first we will look at the pattern of event happening. First, the mother cut the cake. So, as it is in the past tense, we will use cut in the past form. So, the mother cut the cake, and as there is symmetry in the action, so we will use, instead of comma, we will use and. Then, as the subject is the same, so we will not again use the mother. So we will just use the main verb, gave everybody a piece. So this is the simple, complex and compound sentence pattern. Now we will come to our second subject changing pattern, that is active voice, passive voice. In active voice and passive voice, actually the tense form we use in our usual writing. It is actually in the active voice. So, passive voice is, you can say, a little bit less used. So, when we transform active voice into a passive one, we should be careful about the placement of auxiliary verb and the placement of the use of past participle form. It is known as an industrious creature. The example we here find is in the passive form, because here we have found the presence of auxiliary verb and the presence of past participle. So it is a passive voice. We have to transform it into active voice. So first we have to look for the object, but here we find that there is no object. So we have to introduce a suitable subject for our active voice. So we can here choose we or people as the suitable subject, and as it is present indefinite form, so we will use the present indefinite form of know. So we know or people know, then the subject of the passive voice will come as the object in the active voice. So people know it or we know it, then the extra phrase or group of word, as an industrious creature. Now come to the second example. It stores honey in the hive. Here the direction is to transform it into passive voice. That means our question is in the active form. So it is the subject, stores verb, honey object. So we have found object. So it is a transitive verb. We can easily transform it into a passive verb form. So honey first has been taken as the subject. Then, as it is, the verb is stores the presence of SES form with the main verb stores directs determines that this is present indefinite tense. So honey will be accompanied by is as an auxiliary verb form, and store has been transformed into past participle form stored. Then we in the hype we haven't used by it because subjects like by, subjects like it, they are indefinite and they do not need to be mentioned in the passive voice. So there are some more examples. Some essential agricultural inputs are to be ensured. So we find the passive form after infinitive. So to be ensured, to increase our food production, we have to transform this passive form into active one. So first, we will look for the object of this sentence, passive sentence, but we find that there is no passive, there is no sub object which we can bring as the subject. So we have to use a suitable subject, and here as agriculture is a national interest, we will use the suitable subject. The government or the authority is to ensure some essential agriculture input. So is to ensure, to be ensured has been transformed into active form, to ensure. So the government is to ensure. Then the subject of passive voice, some essential agriculture inputs. It has come as object of the active voice, some essential agriculture inputs to increase our food production. This is a phrase that has just placed as the natural sequence. Then the last one, they love their motherland profoundly, passive. So their motherland, love present indefinite tense. So it will be accompanied by suitable object. Suitable object is, and as it is adverb of manners, so this will be placed after auxiliary verb profoundly. Then love will be placed as the past participle, loved. So their motherland is profoundly loved, and we do not need to use by them because their motherland. The subject clarifies the situation. Who will love their motherland? So it is very clear. So we don't need to use by them. Now we will come to the degree, changing of degree. That means positive degree, comparative degree, superlative degree, changing from positive into superlative one, comparative degree into positive degree, comparative degree into superlative degree. This. Number one, they are more patriotic and industrious. The presence of the word more, this makes it comparative degree. Now the instruction has been given to transform it into positive. So we will use no other. So no other people. We will use this subject, suitable subject. No other people are as patriotic and industrious as they. The form no other people and as patriotic and industrious as adjective as. This is the form of positive degree. Second, second example, it is larger and more spectacular than most other parliament buildings. The instruction is given to transform it into superlative degree. And the presence of the word more and here, then, and most other, these things make it a comparative degree. So, comparative degree has to be transformed into superlative degree. So, for this, we will first the subject and verb pattern will not be changed in from changing degree from comparative to superlative. So it subject then is as it is as there is the presence of most other, we will use one of the. So it is one of the, and we will make the superlative form. Larger will be the largest, and more spectacular will be most spectacular. Building, parliament, buildings. So for one of it is we have used the plural form buildings. So the transformation has been done here. So now what we need to remember first, in the simple complex compound pattern, we should carefully observe the presence of subject and finite verb, and there may be non-finite verb in the pattern. So in simple sentence, there must be one subject and one finite verb, and there may be one or more non-finite verb. In complex or compound sentence, there must be two subjects and two finite verbs, and there may be one or more non-finite verbs. In changing voice, we must first determine the presence of object and the right use of auxiliary verb and past participle form of main verb. When we are going to make an active, transform an active voice into a passive one. Third, in the case of changing degree of sentence, we should follow the following rules. So the rules has been actually given as some examples. First, in positive degree, if we find no other, then in comparative degree we will find here any other, and in superlative degree we will find the then superlative form. So no other boy is so good as Tamim. So if when we transform it into comparative degree, we will say Tamim is better than any other boy. Then superlative degree, Tamim is the best boy. There is second second type, very few boys. So when instead of no other we find very few, then we will notice that instead of any other there will be most other, and instead of the plus superlative form we will find one of the then superlative form. So the pattern goes like this: very few boys are as good as Tamim. This positive form will be transformed into comparative form as Tamim is better than most other boys. And in the superlative form, it is Tamim is one of the best boys. Apart from these two major classifications, we have another form that is which has no superlative degree but only positive and comparative form. Tamim is better than Iqbal. Only comparison between two. So while comparing between two, we do not have superlative form. But Tamim is better than Iqbal. So Iqbal, the object form will come in the subject. Iqbal is not so good as Tamim. So, Tamim, this is comparative form actually. Tamim is better than Iqbal. This is comparative form, and when we make it into comparative positive form, then it is Iqbal is not so good as Tamim. So I hope, my dear students, you will reap benefit from this present on content presentation. That's all for today. Stay home, stay safe. Thank you. Allah Hafiz.